All right, so we have here a couple different trays of microgreens. A lot of people don't know what microgreens are, and essentially they're just immature plants that are grown very densely and harvested when they're still immature. And the advantage of that is they are very high in nutrients because they haven't expended all the energy to get a lot bigger. So they're keeping the nutrients that they start with in the seed. So there are actually quite a few studies out there discussing the high nutritional value of microgreens, especially broccoli. So this is broccoli here. Broccoli has been cited in some studies as being a possible solution for improving nutrition in food deserts, just because it is incredibly highly nutritious. And it's really tasty. I love broccoli. So we grow a few different varieties here. The main one is peas with sunflowers and radishes. I do broccoli every week now. I also do cilantro, purple kohlrabi, and a couple of different mixes, just sort of depending on what people are looking for. The microgreens, they do differ from sprouts. So a lot of people call them sprouts, but the sprouts are actually grown in a damp environment. They're not grown in soil. So I grow all the microgreens in soil. Sprouts are what you're thinking of when you're thinking of bean sprouts. It's very different than growing it in the soil and getting the actual plant. Uh, they're super tasty. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, I guess we'll start with when I plant them. I do them into these 10-20 trays. And there's two trays. So I have a perforated one and a closed one so that I can set them in together. And after I've planted them, when I need to water them, I bottom water. So I just lift this tray up, pour the water in, and put it back down. That means that we prevent issues like mold from happening. We don't get the plants too wet. We don't introduce anything to them. So it also helps with contamination. Say maybe something got into the water. If you're thinking about like the romaine outbreak when they're pouring E. coli contaminated water on top, if they had put it underneath, it wouldn't have been so much of a problem. So I fill this with soil. I have a certain amount of seed that each variety calls for. So with broccoli, I'm doing about 4 tablespoons per tray. With peas, I'm doing, oh, that's going to require some memory here. I think it's 12 ounces per tray. And then I spread it out and it's super dense. So for the most part, the seeds are touching. And then I cover them up. So once they're all done, if I'm doing a lot, I stack all the trays and then I put a tray on top. And the weight means that they will germinate evenly. So they just sit in the dark or on a shelf until they've germinated. With the peas, that is usually about 4 or 5 days. The broccoli, the broccoli's all over the place a lot of times lately. The radish is only a few days before it starts coming up. And once they come up, I uncover it, separate all the trays, put them under lights on shelves that I've got inside under grow lights, and we go from there. It takes about 10 days from seeding to harvesting for the peas and the sunflower. The radish is about 7 days, although at this time of the year when it's so warm, we can get away with more like 5 or 6 days. Broccoli is usually 8 days, but I always have trouble getting broccoli right on. So to harvest, these ones actually, the whole tray will be harvested tomorrow for our Veggie Share members and for one of our store accounts. So I try to harvest as late as I can so that our customers are getting the freshest product. But tonight we'll go ahead and harvest one tray. Depending on what I'm doing it for, I might just harvest the whole tray into a container and then go and package from there. Sometimes I'll just harvest directly into the container. So let's turn this around. And all it is, just take a handful and just cut along. And so I end up with a handful of pea shoots. And then I just put them into my clamshell. So it's not difficult. I use a ceramic knife. They stay sharp a lot longer than a stainless steel knife or something along those lines. And with sunflower shoots, it makes a huge difference to use the ceramic knife because you will get oxidation on the ends of the sunflower shoots. And this just helps delay it. So it's kind of like an apple. When you cut into the apple, it starts going brown pretty quickly. Sunflower shoots do that on the bottom. They're still good to eat for up to 2 weeks. but this knife really helps to reduce that browning. So then I just harvest into here until it's 2.5 ounces, which is what I sell the pea shoots at. And then we close it up and it'll get a label and it will go off to customers. So that is essentially what happens with the pea shoots. If I'm harvesting the night before, I have a walk-in cooler, so it'll just go in the walk-in. Once you buy them, I recommend to everybody that you don't put it on the same shelf as where your vent comes out on your fridge, because the temperature fluctuates a lot there and it can be really cold when the cold air is coming in. And that is the worst thing for pea shoots to have, well, for any of the microgreens. For longest shelf life, put them away from that vent, put them on a shelf where the temperature is going to be a little more stable. Pea shoots, sunflowers, radish, you should get 2 weeks in the fridge. Broccoli, about a week. And the same with most of the others, you're looking at about a week. The clamshells keep them in really great shape though, so sometimes I get 2 weeks out of the broccoli, but always 2 weeks out of the peas.